And currently in downtown Haverhill, we have a temperature of 70 degrees. 10 minutes after 8 o'clock, Win Damon here, Breakfast with Win. And we also have Dougan Sherwood from the Haverhill Chamber of Commerce. And Dougan, thanks for joining here on the WAVE 97.9.
Nice to be here.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Now, the reason that I wanted to have you in is to talk about, well, there's a bunch of things to find out about, but I wanted to find out about your trip down the mighty Merrimack.
Right. We a week ago we finished a 117-mile trip down the entire Merrimack River, starting up in Franklin, New Hampshire, at the mouth, and it took us 4 days. So if you do the math, that's almost 30 miles a day. And in a kayak, you're cruising along at a little over 3.5 miles an hour if you're cooking. And so these were long days on the river. It was a really wonderful trip. We got to know a number of different people from communities in the greater Merrimack Valley. And we, more importantly, I'd say, we really got a better understanding of what this river is all about. And we're able to understand some of the mythology and some of the rumors around how clean it is, and what different communities are doing about it. And that was incredibly valuable for a number of us. There was about 10 of us or so, but it began with an idea by the president of Northern Essex Community College, Dr. Lane Glenn. And Lane is an outdoorsman, and so he reached out to a couple of us months and months ago and said, hey, if you want to do something silly, would you ever want to paddle the Merrimack with me? And we jumped for it, and then by the end of it, we had a whole entourage of folks coming with us. So it was really a really great experience.
That's got to be fantastic. I remember once I grew up in Concord, Mass, and every once in a while I would go rent a canoe and go out on the Concord River, and I saw I don't know what they call them, egrets or something like that. Go in just and swallow fish. Did you see stuff like that?
We did. We did. I had seen one bald eagle in my 44 years of life before this trip, and I saw 10 or 12 on the first day, the first morning even. I mean, we were in eagle country, beautiful herons and all sorts of beautiful birds. So that was a really special part of it. This river, 117 miles long. It might not be as long as the Mississippi or the Missouri rivers, but it's a big river, and there's a lot of ecology around it. And it was really an interesting experience to start off almost in the foothills of the White Mountains, and then to end up going through very dense urban centers like Manchester, New Hampshire, Lowell, and Lawrence, and of course Haverhill. And then we ended up in Plum Island at the mouth of the river, just next to Newburyport.
Well, I'm glad you got there before they had that bad accident this past weekend.
Yeah, that was surreal to see. Yeah, and having now paddled through that area, I can understand how easily that can happen. So, fortunately, everybody made it through safely, and it was in 4 days and 3 nights. Everybody kept a great attitude. We had several political leaders in the community. Senator Diana DiZoglio joined us. We had the representative from the state rep from Amesbury,
Jim Kelcourse.
Jim Kelcourse, of course, and Christina Minicucci, also representing the Haverhill and Methuen and North Andover as well. And then Rep. Vargas and Rep. Campbell jumped in at certain points to join us as well. And then we had the mayor of Newburyport, Donna Holliday, join us as well, so to make it through that leg. So what the politicians were wonderful in the sense that they got a real education about the river. Senator DiZoglio is already pushing legislation through to increase the understanding of how to preserve, how to clean, how to communicate issues with the river, and they all brought the newspapers and the cameras. So there was great press coverage as well.
Now, I just one silly question: how'd you handle the falls in Lowell?
There were several. What was sort of interesting was that this river wasn't. There was not some road map where people, kayak the entire river or paddle the river from from end to end. And so we had to sort of do our own scouting prior to. There are several places where there are dams, not just in Lowell and Lawrence. So we had a really wonderful support crew. Glenn Prezano, the owner and operator of Merrimack Valley Magazine, and his team were with us, and he was a wonderful support crew, as well as Langland's wife, Margie, was there on hand as well. So not only did they help us when we needed to take our boats out and go a mile on a trailer, they also fed us and kept us, supplied. So.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
So
orchestrated.
Oh, okay. So in between at night, you didn't have to camp out on the banks of the Merrimack.
We actually, we planned to. The first night we got torrential rains, and fortunately there was a house that relatives of Lane Glenn, who lived just a couple miles away from where we got stuck on the river, and we slept on their floor. And then the next 2 nights we found boathouses, one in Nashua and one in Lawrence. And they were wonderful hosts, and they allowed us to basically pitch tents on their property. So it was enough of a roughing it experience for all of us, but after 10 hours of paddling on the river, we were happy to have a little bit more shelter than you might expect.
Now, did your arms hurt?
They did, but it's interesting. What your body can react to, and what your mind can react to, when you're just paddling the same motion for hours after hour after hour. In a work culture the way we have it today, where you're constantly being stimulated by your phone or by TV or whatever the case might be, it was really that was one of the most rewarding parts of this, is that my phone died, I didn't have anybody to, you just were sort of left with your thoughts and your mind. That was a real clearing thing, I think, for a number of us. So yeah, your arms did hurt, a little to leave here and there, your back, and some days were rougher than others, but it's a small price to pay for, I think, the overall gratitude I think we all felt.
And what about the shape of the river? Was it better or worse than you thought?
Yeah, I'll answer that by saying it's complicated, and I came in with sort of a local's misunderstanding or my own sort of opinions of it that really aren't fully formed, because it is complicated. I think there are the short answer is that the water, there's a lot of work to be done to clean up the river. But I think the bigger answer is there's been a tremendous amount of work that has been done to improve it. And so there is still CSOs, combined sewer overflows issues, where you do have runoff after a storm that throws sewage into the river. And that's something that every city, I'm pleased to say, is taking very seriously. And I learned about efforts like in Manchester, New Hampshire, the largest city on the river. They've been spending over $5 million a year for the past 10 years to improve their overflow systems, and so it is getting better. But I would also say this is a huge river, and all of us, I think I speak for everybody when I say we were very comfortable swimming in this river in almost every part of it and almost all the time. And so there were a few times where you just have to be vigilant and be aware, and there's increasing ways in which organizations supporting the river are communicating to the public when there is a CSO, and so you do have to be aware of that. But for the vast majority of time, if we saw a rope swing, we were jumping on it. I fell out of the boat 3 times just in little rapids, and then just going swimming because we were there for hot days. And so, and we were all looking at the river and sort of judging for ourselves how we felt. But I came away feeling like, my kids could swim in it. The default would be we should be able to feel comfortable swimming in it, and we just have to watch out if there's significant rains and we hear about there being a CSO, and then you wait a couple days. That's
right. Yeah, you just have to be aware of that. Now, I was thinking that during your time on the river, you had plenty of time to think. You're probably thinking about the restaurant week that's coming up in Haverhill, right?
Amen. Yeah. So, what was really cool is we were able to do stops along each sort of town or city along the river, and we did stop last Saturday in Haverhill. We stopped right at Harbor Place, right on the beautiful river walk there, and really were able to sort of celebrate everything that's going on in downtown Haverhill these days. And we walked right through the farmers market. We walked across 2 different workout sessions. So there's a lot of interesting stuff happening in Haverhill this summer, and I'm really excited that the Chamber's part of it. We beginning this Friday is Restaurant Week, and it kicks off a full week or so of our local restaurants all getting together and offering locals and outsiders discounts on food, and so if you go to the haverhillchamber.com or look on social media, you'll see how it all works. But it's just basically built to be really simple, to encourage people to come out and try different restaurants in the area. Most restaurants are offering really great discounts, and so it's a great opportunity to come out, support the local restaurant community, and get a lower cost meal.
And if this is similar to other restaurant weeks, the restaurants will have like a $5 plate and a $10 plate.
Exactly. And we put together, my friend Melissa Seavey at the Chamber put together a sort of a passport booklet that offers that will break down each restaurant's offering, so you know in advance, and you can again see this on social media as well. But it's also something where each restaurant will give you a stamp, and you can mark the different restaurants that you go to, so keep track. A lot of people do go out every night, which is really cool, and that's what I'm going to plan to do as well. I want to also put a plug in for a couple other things that are related. This coming Friday evening at 6 p.m. at Harbor Place, right in downtown Haverhill, we're going to be hosting Country Night. It's an event we hosted last year. It's live music, live country music. Kids, families, adults going out to dinner. It's a great event. We had about 300 people last year right at Harbor Place, right on the river. Awesome live band, food and drinks. There'll be a cash bar. But we're hoping to have 300 or 400 people there again this year, and the weather's looking so far so good. So we hope that people will come out to that. There's no need to RSVP or sign up in advance. Just show up and be ready to have a good time. On Saturday evening as well, there's something really wonderful that we're part of in partnership with L'Arche Boston. They've closed down Wingate Street this coming Saturday for what's called the Longest Table. And again, to support Restaurant Week and the local restaurants here, but really to celebrate community. There's going to be a table set for 200 people right on Wingate Street with restaurants participating. I do believe it's sold out, but L'Arche is an important organization in Haverhill, and this should bring good advocacy. So even if you haven't gotten a ticket yet, I encourage people to check it out, or even walk by or go grab a drink at one of the local restaurants.
All right, and everything's on the Chamber website.
Exactly, haverhillchamber.com.
All right. Well, hey, Dougan, we're going to have to get you back. You've got all types of information there, and I'm sure you're already planning on another river to kayak.
We're going to do it next year.
Are you really?
Yeah, if you're listening and you want to go, let us know. Reach out to the Chamber.
All right, 300 of your best friends.
Right, yeah.
Oh, that'll be a lot of fun. Well, Dougan, thank you again, and we'll look forward to getting you back here.
Thanks, Win.
All right. Dougan Sherwood of the Haverhill Chamber of Commerce, our guest this morning here on the WAVE, 97.9 WHAV FM.
From Winnikinny Castle to Searles Castle, your home for the best music is 97.9 FM WHAV.